Newsflash, girlies, the year is not over yet. Growth is not linear, okay? Every single month, you're not going to see yourself doing this. Growth looks like this. As long as you're breathing, as long as you wake up the next day and you have breath in your lungs, anything is possible. The work that you do in the next 90 days can dramatically transform your life. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Girls in Real Life podcast. I'm your host, Mariah Clayton. Happy Monday. I hope you guys are having a great start to your week so far. Literally every time I sit down to start the episode, I just feel like I go on autopilot and I just say the same exact thing every single time. And I don't know if that's annoying to you guys or if you like that it's very predictable that I always kind of say the same thing, but I don't know. I just never know how to start things off. So I don't want to make it awkward. So I just say the same thing every single time. I don't know. But anyways, I hope you guys had a good weekend as well. I'm recording this a little bit early in the week, so before my weekend has actually happened, but we are going to a fried chicken festival, me, Justin, and we're bringing Ace. It's in New Orleans. We've gone once before, and the last time we went I was actually pregnant with Ace and no one knew. But yeah, it's a fried chicken festival that happens every year, and it's just like a bunch of different food vendors, and all they sell is chicken. It's very much a foodie scene. It's not healthy by any means, but it's just really fun and interesting because people do chicken a lot of different ways and they have to get really creative. But yeah, we got invited to that. So that's what we did this past weekend. If you guys have been longtime listeners of the podcast, then you know every time October hits, we do a spooky season episode. I'm so excited because I look forward to doing this every single year. It's just so much fun. It allows me to do something totally different from what the podcast is, which is true crime. So every single October on the last Monday of the month, we do our spooky season episode, and it's always a true crime episode. And I'm very excited about this spooky season episode because I'm giving y'all a treat. I don't want to divulge too much, but just know it's not just going to be me. And I think you guys are really going to love the guests that I have coming on telling a true crime story. So that's all I'm going to leave it at, but I just wanted to put that on your radar so you can gear up and get ready for the last Monday of October for our true crime episode. I remember one year, maybe this was like 2 or 3 years ago, when I did an entire spooky season month, and for the whole month of October it was a true crime episode, and I said I will never do this again because I had to do so much research. I had to write out so many scripts, and honestly by the end of it, because that October we had 5 Mondays in the month, I was just like, it was too much. It was too depressing. So ever since then, I've only done one spooky season episode, one true crime episode, because I feel like I can handle that. And I know all of my girlies love true crime, so that's another reason kind of like why we do it, just to get us in the spooky Halloween spirit. So that is coming up in a couple of weeks. Just wanted to put it on your radar and let you guys know that something fun and exciting is coming. So we're going to go ahead and dive into today's episode. I don't think this is going to be a super long episode. I say that and then watch, I'll be here for like 45 minutes. But anyways, we are talking about how to take advantage of the last quarter of the year. I'm titling this "Don't Fumble the Ball in the Last Quarter" just because I played sports and I thought it was pretty punny. But yeah, I really just wanted this episode to be about us locking in and refocusing for the last 3 months of the year, because as you guys know, the end of the year is approaching very, very soon, and the last quarter of the year is always such a pivotal time, and also the most busiest time as well, you know, with all of the holidays that we have coming up and all of us just trying to make sure that we make it to the end of the year. Sometimes we get a little bit complacent because we're overwhelmed by everything that is happening, and whatever goals that we haven't reached by the end of the year, or by honestly October, we just kind of write it off to the wind. We don't even worry about it. We're just like, we'll just do it next year. But newsflash, girlies, the year is not over yet. Okay, we are still currently in 2024, and that means anything is possible. You still have time to make significant strides towards your goal goal, and that is exactly what I hope this episode helps you do. Like I mentioned, I was an athlete. I'm sure some of you guys were athletes out there, and if you played sports at any single point in your life, you know how important the end of the game is. The entirety of the game or the competition, all of it is important, but there's something about finishing strong that is just super important, especially when it comes to sports. And I think that we need to have that same mentality when we go into this last quarter of the year. And I know not every sport has quarters or fourth quarter, but for the sake of this episode, we are going to call this the fourth quarter mentality. You have to train your mind to understand the importance of what a strong finish is, even if you're tired, even if you're fatigued, even if you feel like you don't have anything else to give. You have to be willing to fight to the end in the fourth quarter, because if you don't, you could lose the game. It doesn't matter if you've been up the entire game. The minute that you decide to coast through the fourth quarter, the minute that you decide that you just feel like you have everything in the bag so you don't need to try as hard or exert as much energy, that is the moment where you lose. So we have to be willing to train our minds to have this fourth quarter mentality so that we can have a strong finish, because it is important. Now, there are several reasons why a lot of people fumble the ball in the last quarter of the year. Number one is going to be you have a lack of motivation. Like I mentioned earlier, by the end of the year, you're just like over it. You're not motivated to do anything anymore. You feel like you don't even have enough time to do it anymore. So like, what is the point? So now you just don't have the motivation to even finish strong because you don't even think that it's worth it. Second reason why people fumble in the last quarter is holiday distraction. Every single most important holiday happens in the last quarter of the year. You have Halloween, which some people don't count that as like a super big holiday, but to some people it is. You have Thanksgiving, you have Christmas, and you have New Year's. Like, those are the big four that happen at the end of the year, and it's month after month after month of something happening, something occurring. And let's not even talk about if you have birthdays or like graduations or things like that. Like, there's just a lot that happens in the fourth quarter of the year, so you can easily get distracted, easily lose sight of your goals because you're focused on so many other things outside of them. Third reason why people fumble in the fourth quarter is burnout. Like, you've exerted so much energy in the beginning and the middle of the year that by the time you make it to the fourth quarter, you're just holding up your hands and you're like, I'm done. I'm tapping out. I have nothing more to give. Burnout is so real, which is why you really have to learn how to pace yourself and figure out when you need to go harder, when you need to pull back, when you need to coast, right? Like, there is a science and an art to every single sport, and also, most importantly, the sport of life. And so you have to be willing to know and understand, like, mentally, when can you push yourself? Physically, when can you push yourself? When should you hold back? All of these things require a lot of self-awareness. And if you don't have that, you can easily find yourself burning out by the end of the year. And then the last reason why people fumble the ball in the fourth quarter is because you feel like there's not enough time to achieve anything important. I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier with the lack of motivation, but with 3 months left in the year, you have around about 100 days to accomplish something. And some people might think that that is nowhere near enough time to make the sorts of changes and transformations that they want to make by the end of the year. So they just kind of write it off and forget about it, or try and push it until the next year. But a lot can change in 3 months. A lot can change in 3 weeks. You have to be the one to believe that it can, and you have to be the one willing to put in the work to actually get it done. It can be really hard to find that motivation. It can be really hard to figure out how you're going to accomplish something that you haven't been able to accomplish yet in the year. But it's all about you and your mental endurance and the consistency and the urgency with which you try to accomplish your goals. So the point of this episode is to try to reignite your fire and encourage you to have a strong finish to the year. And I have a list of 6 ways of how you are going to do that. Y'all know typically I'm the queen of 5s, but today I threw a little bit of extra nugget of wisdom in there. So we have a list of 6 things that are going to help you reignite your fire and finish the year strong. Number 1, we are going to reflect and reassess. This means that you are going to take inventory of your entire year. How do you do that? Well, first you need to ask yourself some reflective questions just to get you thinking and looking back on the year with an actual purpose. Questions like, what did you accomplish? What didn't go as planned? What are things that held you back, right? These are all super important questions to kind of help you pinpoint where you were successful in the year, where you lacked in the year, and what you're still trying to work towards before the end of the year. Another thing you need to do is check in with your priorities, okay? A lot of times during the year, our priorities shift and change. The vision boards and the goals that we had at the beginning of the year might not be the same goals and visions that you have for yourself now. So you need to ask yourself, are your goals still the same from the beginning of the year? Are those things that you wrote down still aligned with the things that you want now? If they are not, that's okay, but you just need to pivot. There's no sense in working towards something that you no longer have a desire and a purpose to do. And that could also be a reason why you're lacking motivation, is because you found yourself working towards something that you don't even want anymore. So if you reflect back over your vision board from the beginning of 2024 and you realize there are some things that you're just not aligned with anymore, some things that just aren't as important to you anymore, you need to write a new list, okay? Reprioritize yourself with the things that you want now so that you do have this newfound motivation to kind of push through before the end of the year. So after you reflect and reassess on the year that you've had, you are going to move to step number 2, which is you need to detach from your current reality. What do I mean by this? You are going to have to be brutally honest with yourself and ask yourself, what do you need to let go of in order to get the life that you want? It could be a person. It could be an object. It could be a place. Whatever you feel like is not serving you in this season of your life and is holding you back in a sense, you need to pinpoint that and figure out if it's something that you need to let go in order for you to be able to spread your wings and fly and accomplish all the things that you want by the end of the year. Because if something or someone is holding you back and is not doing anything for you, you need to be self-aware enough to realize that. And I know that it can be hard, especially if it's someone that you love, someone that you've been friends with for a long time, a job that you've been working at for years. It can be really, really difficult and scary to reevaluate that and realize that it's holding you back and be brave enough to walk away. But if you want to finish the year strong and if you want to have a chance at accomplishing the things that are important to you, you're gonna have to let go of some things that are no longer serving you. Detaching from your current reality and environment and circumstances, it can be really hard and confusing for the people around you, especially when you start dropping people like flies, because they're not going to understand why you feel the need to look beyond your current reality, to look beyond your current circumstance. But it's important and it's a transformative part of this process, because the minute that you decide to change things within yourself, everything around you is going to change. So once you make that internal decision to let go of everything that is holding you back and you decide to change your mentality, you decide to change the people that are around you, in turn, your environment will automatically change. You will find that you are surrounding yourself with the right people. You will find that you are getting out of a toxic environment and stepping into something that is healthy and fulfilling. You will find that detaching from your old reality is allowing you to step into your new one and to be the best version of yourself where you're high functioning. Detaching from your reality means that you are waking up to your potential. It means that you are realizing that there is so much more beyond where you are right now, and you just have to be willing and brave enough to take that first step outside of where you currently are in order to step into the things and the blessings that you want to get for your life. Okay, next step, number 3, you have to make the decision to commit to yourself. In other words, you have to choose to start. And again, this is really hard because the first step is always the scariest. You're stepping into the unknown. You're stepping into territory that has never been treaded by you before. And it's scary and it's intimidating, but you will never be ready, okay? Like you will never come to the point where you feel like you are ready to take that next step. It's not going to happen. You're always going to be afraid. There's always going to be something that's wanting to pull you back and hold you back and tell you, no, don't do it, not yet. Like, we don't have the perfect conditions. But newsflash, there is no such thing as a perfect condition. You have to make the decision within yourself. And once you decide to do that, you will find yourself starting to develop habits that will then in turn start to develop discipline. And discipline is only developed through repetition. So the more that you do consistent habits, the more that you have a solid routine, the more discipline that will be over your life, and the more focused that you will be on your goals. It is a domino effect. I'll never understand people who are like, I don't have enough knowledge, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough experience. And it's like, do you think that you're going to get that just waiting around? No, the only way that you're going to get that is if you create environments for you to have those things. In order for you to do that, you got to start. You have to choose to just do it. Do it stupid and do it scared. Step number 4, we are going to dream big, but plan small, okay? Like I said earlier, the last 3 months of the year are quite literally the busiest, most overwhelming time of the year. This episode is not to tell you to get your butt into overdrive and do a massive overhaul in the next 3 months. Like, that is not what I'm telling you to do at all. You just need to focus on a few daily habits that you can start implementing in your everyday life, some small resolutions that will actually be achievable so that you can start the transformation. It's a compound effect, okay? So the small things that you decide to do every single day, what you decide to implement into your routine, into your day, the habits that you're willing to instill within yourself, those are the things that will bring the massive changes by the end of the year. It's not going to be an overnight sensation like, oh, I'm a brand new person, I'm achieving and accomplishing everything I want. No, absolutely not. You have to start small, and you have to be willing to praise yourself for the small progress and the accomplishments that you're making along the way. So the most important thing that I want you guys to do, and this is your homework, is you're going to pick one goal. It doesn't have to be complicated. I don't want you guys to be thinking like all crazy. Remember, we only have 3 months left of the year. So just think of something small and identify the habits that you can do every single day to work towards that one big goal. Now, am I saying that you're going to accomplish the big goal in the next 3 months? Maybe. I mean, hey, I don't know your work ethic. I don't know your mentality, okay? You might have the strongest finish that anyone has ever seen. But if that's not you, all you need is 1 to 2 small wins. That's all. All you need is 1 to 2 small wins before the end of the year to help you bring that momentum into 2025. It's going to boost your confidence. It's going to boost your motivation because you realize that you could accomplish something in such a short amount of time. What else can you accomplish with a whole brand new year staring you right in the face? All right, 2 more steps to get through. Number 5, I do not want you to judge yourself, okay? Please don't judge yourself, you guys. Like, we are our biggest critics. We are so mean to ourselves that we can't even acknowledge all of the great and amazing things that we have accomplished. The only thing that we can focus on is what we didn't accomplish. Oh, I can't believe it. I'm such a failure. I didn't do what I said I was going to do. Blah, 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 blah. Stop it. Okay? Stop being mean to yourself and stop judging yourself for not doing the things that you said that you were going to do. It happens. No one is perfect. I'm sure as heck not perfect. There are a lot of things on my list from the beginning of the year that I haven't even started to work towards, okay? And I could be mad at myself. I could look at the past 10 months of the year and be like, what did I do? Where did the time go? How did I not accomplish this? But instead, I'm going to reshift my mentality and I'm going to speak positively to myself, and I am going to choose to not let that deter me from finishing the year strong. Sometimes things just don't go as planned, and that's okay. But you need to be willing to release the expectations that you had for yourself at the beginning of the year, because life happens, and there are a lot of things at the beginning of the year that you are not accounting for. There are so many unforeseeable variables and circumstances that can happen through the course of 10 months and an entire year that you could not even possibly think would happen. So give yourself some grace, offer yourself some forgiveness for not accomplishing every single thing on your vision board. Growth is not linear, okay? Every single month, you're not going to see yourself doing this. Growth looks like this. Okay, it is a one big roller coaster that is going up with really big highs and going down with really low lows. And you have to be willing to just take what life gives you in the moment. Things happen for a reason. So again, extend yourself some grace, extend yourself some love, and be willing to not judge yourself for not accomplishing what you said you were going to do at the beginning of the year. That's the whole reason that we reassess and reevaluate the very first thing, because maybe those goals don't align with where you are anymore, and that's why you didn't even care to even do them. So again, let's be nice to ourselves. Let's not judge ourselves. Let's just do what we need to do for these next 3 months so that we can be proud of ourselves. Okay. And then the last step, number 6, we are going to get a clear vision. This is my favorite. Okay. I am a visualizer through and through. I can get lost in a daydream about my life. Sometimes I spend so much time daydreaming that I don't even like sit in reality long enough, and that's kind of bad, but I'm just a visualizer and I love to look beyond where my current circumstances are and see all of the things that could be happening for me. So in order to get clear on your vision, you have to write it down and make it plain, okay? We all know the Bible scripture, write down the vision and make it plain. Yes. That's what you need to do. That is kind of what a vision board is for. And newsflash, you don't just have to do vision boards at the beginning of the year. You can do it in the middle. You can do it in the last quarter. So to write down your vision and make it plain, you have to be willing to see beyond where you currently are. And you got to have some faith, okay? You have to be willing to put yourself out there, to say the things that you want, to write down the things that you want, and truly believe for it to happen. One of my favorite sermon messages ever in life is the Crazy Faith series by Pastor Mike Todd and Transformation Church. Truly changed my entire life. When I tell you, like, if you haven't listened to it, like, that is a sermon series that you need to go and watch, because you will be amazed at how much your vision and manifesting can actually impact your life. Pastor Michael Todd's testimony is crazy. Like, he is the living proof of crazy faith. He is the living proof of like writing down what you want and watching God sit back and work his magic on your life. You have to be willing to write down the vision and make it plain. You have to be willing to have crazy faith in order to believe that it's going to happen. And you also need to be willing to plant seeds for your future. Again, this goes back to our actions and our habits and our routines, because the actions that you take during these last 3 months of the year are so critical. They are literally going to lay the foundation for your success in 2025. So whatever you decide to start doing now is how you're going to start the year of 2025. You truly need to think about, how do you want to feel on the first day of the new year? I know most of us will want to feel motivated. We're going to want to feel confident. We're going to want to feel inspired to continue pushing towards our goals. And the only way that happens is if you start the momentum now, is if you start seeing the vision now. This is just so important, because if you don't have vision, you will perish. If you don't have vision, you will not have anything that you're working towards. You will just be totally content in your life, not doing anything, just content with letting life happen to you instead of going out and getting the things that you want. Am I saying that God will not bless you? I'm not saying that at all. But what I know and what I believe is that God will only bless what you put in. You have to be willing to put in the work. You have to be willing to have the faith. You have to be willing to put yourself out there. So if you don't have any vision, he cannot do exceedingly abundantly above all, right? Like, you have to be willing to have the vision and be brave enough to take the first step, to choose to start, to decide, to commit to yourself and your goals, so that you have the momentum leading up to the year of 2025, and then you can accomplish so much more beyond what you ever thought was even possible. It is not too late to turn things around, y'all. It's not. As long as you're breathing, as long as you wake up the next day and you have breath in your lungs, anything is possible. You just have to truly believe that it can happen and be willing to put in the work for it to happen. The work that you do in the next 90 days can dramatically transform your life, okay? It is not too late. It is not the end. It is not over. It is not finished. You are still here, and you still can work towards the things that are the desires of your heart. No matter where you are right now, even if you feel like nothing is possible, just have that one little tiny kernel of faith, and I promise you it will be enough to take you through the finish of this year and into the next one. So that's all I have to say, y'all. I know this episode was pretty short. I'm proud of myself for kind of getting through this. I hope that this was helpful. I hope that this reignited your fire and your desire to finish the year strong, because I don't want anybody fumbling the ball in the fourth quarter. Okay. This is so important. We need to have that fourth quarter mentality. We need to gear ourselves up. We need to hype ourselves up to finish the year strong and accomplish our small, achievable goals, implement these nice little habits so that we can be prepared for the new year. Okay. It's time to lock in. It's time to lock in. It's time to lock in. All right. Anyways, I'm literally stalling now. So I'm going to end this episode. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. Leave me a nice little comment, a review, a 5-star rating. You can also follow us on all of our social media platforms at Girls IRL Pod. You can follow me personally if you would like at Mariah Clayton _. And yeah, that's all that I have to say. I hope you guys have a great Monday, a great week, and I'll talk to you in my next episode. Bye.